Hello everyone. So, my son has my phone. He is now a bit more aware of what he's doing and will watch. So we are headed, I'm doing some running with him, so I figured I'll just live stream right now. Because, yeah, kids got sick, so they didn't go to school. And it was a half day today too, and then I had running to do. So we will be taking care of those things. So I figured while we're taking care of those things and in town, I would live stream so that it's taken care of. Just because I've been up at like 4 a.m. every morning for the past couple of mornings, and I did take an hour and a half or so nap, from when I laid down, it ended up about that. I don't think I actually slept that long, because we all know how it sometimes can take a little while to fall asleep, so there is that. But I do have one question on Christmas. I usually save my gifts for Christmas Day, and I do have a gift coming in the mail. I did a gift exchange with some other WooTubers, and so if you guys would like, what I can do is I could do my live stream for that day. It could be an unboxing of the gift or gifts. An unboxing of what comes. So I would try to make it so that it would work correctly. But once again, we know what happened once, so I would need to test out, try and figure out what happened on that live stream, see if I could figure out how to bypass that and get it to behave. I don't know if it would be just switching back every so often from the camera, or I don't know what, and switching into like Wizards Unite, or if it was just a fluke. That is a possibility. And if it was a fluke, then maybe it would work appropriately if we did it. But yeah, we are running in for a minute because my son needs to cash a check. So don't need that one. Don't need that one. I'll go after this then. So this one does not, it wants to be one of the meaner ones, it looks like, so I'm tempted to get out of it. Yep, I'm gonna run away. No reason to waste a bunch of energy. Threw me for a second. I wondered, how did I get those other ones? And then I remembered he must have been able to reach them as we were driving. So hi. He needs to cash this check.
There are two.
Or these checks. Once he gets them out.
That's okay.
And he does not have his ID, so.
If he'll sign them, and then you will if you have your ID.
I could run out after it. Or send him out after it, I should say. I forgot that part. Because half the time they're like, oh, we know who you are, don't worry about it. Yes.
But I hate you to run outside
No,
if you don't have to.
I totally get it. That's why I laughed as she walked in it right as I was saying that. Yep.
Thank you.
Like I said, that's one benefit of banking at the same bank for years, especially when the bank's amazing. I know someone else that was complaining about, or that had troubles with their bank.
Oh.
They wouldn't give her a debit card. Her debit card without, like, obnoxious amounts of proof.
Really?
For her regular account, and I'm going, does it happen here?
We're lucky. We have loyal customers, so we're fortunate.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's why you have loyal customers, is that you guys are amazing. I mean,
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you.
you know, so here's what happened. My mom started with you guys because you were the best business bank there was out there.
Okay.
And then, like, 14 years ago, something like that, I was like, I had gotten divorced and needed to open my own account and whatever. She's like, trust me, just go there. And I'm like, okay, I'll trust you, you know.
Yes.
And it was, yeah. Then I got married, and my husband was with Key Bank, and I was still here. I'm like, we're getting rid of one account, and it's not mine.
Not mine. I like that. Good.
And he's like, no, we'll just keep others. And it lasted for about a year or two. And he went, you're right, we're getting rid of an account.
No, we're happy to have you. Okay, here's your 15 cents. The total of the checks is $47.15. So there's 20, 40, 45, 46, and 47.
Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome.
Yeah, but do you really want to spend it on that? So if I seem extra happy right now, it's because one of my stresses, I hadn't been able to do some math and get it to come out right on insurance and car insurance. And I I handed it over to my brother, and he couldn't get it to come out right. So that it was like, okay, it's not my fault. And then we went in, and the insurance agent said, no one can get it to come out right unless you know a few key details. You can try after it. It didn't want to catch for me. And I was like, I don't want to waste a bunch of spell energy on it if it's not going to catch.
If it doesn't do it this one, I'm not going to.
But yes, you can go after them. It's not like the past ones where one's easy and one's hard. These, you'll have one that it's like one spell cast and it's caught. And others of the very same type, it's numerous. So it almost seems to have absolutely zero to do with the difficulty level this time. So, go figure.
That's what Pokemon Go did. Sometimes you could catch a freaking legendary with one ball. Other times you can't catch a Pidgey with like freaking 300.
In the past, the event stuff has been very, all you had to do was catch a few, and you'd know which ones were easy to catch and which ones were hard to catch. And it generally related to the difficulty level of the emergency, if that makes sense. But lately it hasn't been that. So, or not lately, literally this event's the first time it hasn't been that. So, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm not telling you go after a certain type, because I have all of both of them. And you can go after other stuff too. Just see if I have them or not. There's two that red I have, yes please. If you need to use a potion on her. Okay, so you know if you want, once you've finished the cast, you can tap the screen a couple times, and sometimes it will catch it immediately. Like it'll skip the catch screen and everything.
Okay. Oh yeah, I know. I've been doing that.
Okay. I wasn't sure because this time you kind of waited.
Yeah, because I was a little more worried because it's something you didn't have.
I see. If you tap the screen and you're not going to catch it, it doesn't increase the odds of not catching it. Does that make sense?
No, yeah.
See, as soon as you finish the trace, you can tap the screen a couple times. And so for them, I usually go after them 2 or 3 times in a row.
I told you about the honor roll thing, right?
Mm-mm.
So apparently, because I was on the honor roll this past term, well, that last term, I get like they're going to take us to Angie's apparently sometime. Back.
Good job.
Yeah. But I don't know when they're doing it. Because, like, they haven't said anything. All they said was one time, oh, okay, these students we're going to take to Angie's.
And you were like, what now? I thought that van looked familiar. So I'm right by my parents' shop, and I saw this vehicle pull out of somewhere else, and I went, that van looks familiar, and I didn't realize it's pulling a trailer. And then it pulled off to the other side of us through the parking lot over there. it was my father. So that's why I looked familiar, because it was familiar. It's my dad. And only my dad would dare drive a 15-passenger van with a trailer on the back, let alone a trailer on the back the size of a trailer house, I believe. A smaller one, but still. And then drives through a small parking lot with it. But my dad is amazing when he drives, his ability to distinguish distances and everything. There was one time when I was growing up, he let his license lapse accidentally because he was so busy, didn't realize that it was the year he needed to renew his license, so it lapsed. So he had to retake the tests. Obviously passed with ease the writing test, not a problem, and went in for the driving test. Well, that day he had other things to do, and he was going to need his trailer. And I think he even said, if I remember right, he was even loaded full of stuff. And he was driving a 12 or 15 passenger van, because that's the things that have always had his trailer hitches on. He doesn't really go for trucks because, well, I'm the eldest of 8 kids, so he needed something bigger than a truck, and the vans could do the work of the trucks, but then could also carry the whole family, and he could go places and take stuff with, and whatever else, like when we went on family trips, he could put a trailer on the back, etc. So all of our vans always had trailer hitches on. If they didn't, he put a trailer hitch on them. And I'll get in that.
If a van didn't support a trailer hitch, he would make it support a trailer hitch.
Yeah, and I will explain that in a little bit. But so he took this van with the trailer on back and took his driving test in it. And as soon as he was done, the guy said, "So are you taking your paper test for your CDL?" And he's like, "No, I don't know." "Well, you passed the driving test. Why don't you just take the paper test?" "Because I don't need that in my CDL." And it was just, he literally took that to take a regular driving test. And during the test, he had the trailer on the whole time. So it was like the CDL he was going to get was a jet for trucking and everything. And because he'd been able to do every single maneuver, everything else on the regular driving test, but that they would also do on the other tests. And he was just trying to get his regular driver's license, but he had other things to do too. So, and the story about what my son's saying about if it didn't support a trailer hitch, he would make it support a trailer hitch, is we actually, at one point, my parents bought a old van-size school bus. Sometimes they'll take a van and transform them into a school bus size. And that's what they'd done with this, and then it had been decommissioned. And not school bus size, into a school bus. So it's one of the smaller buses. My dad bought one of these, and he proceeded but it obviously didn't have a trailer hitch. And he actually welded on a trailer hitch to it. Now, usually that would be a concern, but right after my senior year, we actually got in a wreck with that vehicle. Not my dad's fault. Someone actually pulled in front of him. Do we know what Mindy wants?
I know exactly what Mindy wants.
Had pulled in front of him, and they caused the wreck. So, yeah. Okay. Sky? What?
Mindy wanted a plain with a frosted lemonade.
A plain
Chicken sandwich.
chicken sandwich with a
meal?
Yes.
Yes, meal with a frosted lemonade.
Large or small?
Large, probably.
Large.
Move it up the line here. What else for you?
I will do the same thing that Mindy got.
Let's do. Can I look just quickly? I think we're gonna do 3 of them, but
I would do, yeah. Wait, I mean, sure. I want other things, but go with that.
let's do 3 of those.
In the meals or just the...
In
Yeah.
the meals, same drink.
So 3 Chick-fil-A sandwich meals, no pickles, all of them with large frosted
Pickles, please.
Pickles on all of them.
Yes.
Okay, so just pickles then?
So but you said no pickles, so we want
Yeah,
pickles.
you said that you wanted them plain. So
Oh, sorry.
No, sorry. Regular, sorry.
Anything else?
So everything that's usually on them. In fact, if we can get extra pickles, we'd all love that.
$29.65, cash or card?
Cash.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're doing cash, you'll pay up at the window.
Okay.
Sauces?
No, right? No sauces? No.
Okay, that'll be around the corner.
He said 29?
29.
This is 30. Yeah, this is 30, so.
Okay, so on to the story. Someone pulled out in front of my dad. And there was, it happened at the corner, and there was an auto body shop right there, and they watched as it started to happen. We were on a 45 road, and they had the stop sign. My dad watched them stop, and he had slowed down, and he was pulling a trailer with this vehicle too. Because a trailer home actually, because we were on a family vacation. He stopped, so he started to speed up a little bit, and they pulled out. And the auto body shop confirmed that this is what they had seen happen, and they said they were shocked that that he kept the vehicle he was driving under control, and that the damage was as minimal as it was. Their vehicle ended up, the passenger seat was in the driver's seat. It was an older lady. The family had been thinking of taking her license and had not had the guts to do it. And they regretted that decision. But all of us were still able, we had a few cuts and huge bruises and things like that. But we could still move around and everything. She was in a coma. I think her boyfriend was in a coma or was hurt. No one died from the wreck, but it was, yeah. And they did eventually take her license because of that, obviously. But so my dad went to the auto body shop because we were in New York, and the insurance company was saying my dad was going to have to fly us home on his own dime, and then they would eventually reimburse him. And my dad's going, I don't have that kind of money to fly 10 people home on emergency tickets. There's no way. It would be, I could purchase a vehicle for less than that. And my dad is one of those jack of all trades. So he pulled it into the auto body shop, and they checked everything out, and he worked with he basically did the work on it. They were a little bit iffy, and then they told, and I actually talked to someone about it, and they said the thing that pushed them over the edge on if they should allow him to work on it or not was they saw these piece of steel that had welded onto the back of the vehicle to make the trailer hitch for the motorhome, and not one of those welds had popped at all. The half-inch piece of steel had folded up in an L, and the trailer home frame had bent some. And they said, if you are that good at what you do, that your welds hold better than a half-inch piece of steel and better than the frame of a motorhome, we don't have to worry about you doing repairs on your vehicle, because your vehicle will be stronger after the repairs than it was before the repairs. There's no doubt about it. So,
Brittany, or is it Sky?
Sky.
Gosh, I don't know where I got Brittany. Sorry about that. It's very amateur. 3 sandwich meals, pickles, large crust cheese. $59.65. I would have just looked at the name. I would have been, I would have been solid.
Maybe someone else that came through recently was Brittany.
Let's see here. This is the first crust. Do you want a drink carrier?
Do we want
Yes.
to? Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. So.
I think they misheard what I said, but it's
He
fine.
said, yeah, he's grabbing it. He'd already handed this to me.
Okay, there's those for you.
Thank you.
I meant with the drinks. But I don't know, because I've never done
Those are like, thank you.
type of thing. But
Those are frosted lemonades.
I've never been here. I've never gotten these, so I don't know. I've only ever gone to Chick-fil-A once
I'm not
since I've lived in Logan. And that was
No,
with
you just
guys.
get Chick-fil-A everywhere else. People bring
The
it
only other time I got
home
Chick-fil-A
or
was
elementary school things and other school things.
and then when I was at Dad's, we would get that sometimes, but that was forever.
Anyway, and part of the reason he held off was that your elementary school did the spicy chicken, and that always Brett knew I had issues with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's actually what I was thinking of getting, but I decided.
Actually, let's go.
What?
I stopped and he came in really fast.
Yep.
I had started to pull out and then he flew in. I was thinking of going that way, but I think I'm going to go this way. So I probably will, actually, I may just go after a regular Fortress to hurry and get it done today. I know usually I go to the AT&T store to get it done.
You could do it later with Brad.
Yeah, but then I don't have to come in if Brett doesn't come in. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And so I'm basically trying to partway make sure things are done in case he doesn't want to come in, because like yesterday we did not go out at all together. Does that make sense?
What were you doing yesterday?
Grandma?
Ah, yeah.
Which is why my wrist is having issues, and I think Mindy's is. Anyway, so yeah, that's the type of work, and it ended up, it actually broken the motor block and we didn't realize it, and he had to replace the motor later on. But
the motor block or the motor?
The motor block broke, so we replaced the motor, because the amount of time it would have taken for Dad to do all the work to fix the block could not happen on a family vacation.
Yeah, that's why I was confused. I was like, why
So he replaced the whole motor.
Usually what Jade said is it's usually not worth it to fix a motor block. Just
Yeah.
to get it better, to get a motor.
Yeah, especially in an older vehicle, that's what this was and stuff. But no, he replaced the whole motor.
Yeah.
And it was so we left where we were after he got the vehicle running again, and we're driving back home, and it started having issues, and he ended up he found another another mechanic shop that actually ordered in the motor for him and allowed him to do the work. So we were very lucky. Of course, that was also like 20 years ago or more. Let's see. Yeah, more than 20 years ago. And so...
Was it 23?
No, well, let's see. 90... It would have been in 94. So, 25 years ago.
Gosh dang it. Because I just was oddballing it. And I was like, oh, it's going to be 25. No, let's go for 23. Gosh dang it.
25 to 26 years ago. Okay, I just really dated myself, but that's okay.
That's okay.
But yeah, managed to do, so back then that was a bit more acceptable. There's so many places now that wouldn't be allowed because of insurance.
Non-stop.
Okay, but you know what I'm saying, David. So right now, the place he owns is a deli, and we've talked about this, that I grew up with, that my dad does game cutting. Yes, it's the very same father that does. He actually, in high school, worked in an auto body shop during the day and graduated from night school from the time he was about 15. So when I say a jack of all trades, I mean a jack of all trades. This guy has built houses around us, doing the plumbing and the electrical and the framing and the sheetrocking and the and he can kind of handle those, but he's stubborn, and let's just say he did not pick up computers as easily as I did. I know, but now you also see why when I say, well, I'm a little bit ahead of my age. Most people my age do not understand computers quite as well as I do, and why I laugh, and when I laugh at my husband, I say he's more normal. Well, you just heard, I've been graduated from high school for 25 years. Most people out that had graduated 25 years ago, yeah, they know how to use computers to a degree, but it's nowhere near, it's not uncommon for them to not truly to struggle.
They're not near as close as someone who's 15.
Mm-hmm.
Who's been around computers their entire life.
People who graduated that long ago know that literally computers in school had only, using a computer in a school to write a paper had only started happening just a few years before we graduated. You know, it was like cutting edge to have a computer to have a computer writing lab. And we still used I saw a Facebook meme the other day, or thing that said they thought we 3D printed the save icon. Well, anyone who knows what that means knows exactly what we used.
Floppy disk.
The 3.5-inch floppy disk is what we would use to save our work on. You could not save it on the hard drive because the hard drive did not have enough memory to be able to save it on. And so you'd each have your 3.5-inch floppy disk that you had to have for your English class. And some people had to purchase them and take them to school. Sometimes the school provided them, because that was right at the time. Sometimes some of the schools were starting to get to where you might not have to provide everything for your high schoolers. And now
There's
it's
like
a
computer
thumb
labs.
drive.
Yeah. There's computer labs in every classroom, and if you do work on Google Drive, it automatically saves, and it's.
And you have a thumb drive that you can use
I have like the only
to
people
save
who
your stuff too.
The only people who I really see do that are more the 3D modelers and graphics designers.
And it's because they have,
they have to bring everything with them.
But or if you're in a bigger school, sometimes you have to have that thumb drive.
Yeah.
Because there's not enough room to save hundreds to thousands of students' work on a computer. But if you have a few hundred students, that's okay. You can
Or
save
if you
that
just have
much.
a drive, like if you have a drive, just save it.
Well,
Like a Google Drive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or they save it to Google Drive. Whereas back when we were it's funny because I remember dial-up. I really do. But I get frustrated if we're if our internet's acting up. So I'm like kind of in between these two age groups in how they want to deal with things. Actually, I'm gonna go in for it again. So I'm gonna switch that out. I just remembered. Let's just go in with one of these. Well, I use my ones when guaranteed is Sunday, even though I'll only have 30 minutes. But yeah, my son will vouch for the fact that I get mad sometimes that our internet is too slow now.
I get mad every Thursday.
And it's really not that slow. Would I love it to be faster? Yeah, but
You might need to do a hard reset on the computers.
it wouldn't surprise me. It's been a long time since we've done it.
10 years. Not that.
No, it has not been 10 years.
No, I know. I was exaggerating. It's been 3, I think.
I don't know, because I think we hard reset that computer after we bought it sometime. And that's the one that I bought.
It's at least 3 years ago. I do know that for sure.
Steven, did I buy it before Steven left or after he left? I thought I bought it after he left.
You got it before.
Okay.
We just didn't use it.
Okay. Well, when did we start using it? After Steven left?
A little bit before he left.
Okay. So it's been just so when we started using it was just
The only
over
reason
3
why I know
years
it was
ago.
3 years is because we started using it in 8th grade when I was in 8th grade. And he Danny got rid of the viruses, and so he didn't
I
need
thought he got rid of them by doing a hard reset.
to. Maybe.
Could swear that's what we did, is we hard reset the whole thing. And wiped it. That's how he got rid of them.
If he did, he kept on some of the stuff on it because... Okay, then maybe he did.
Yeah, because what we did was we either moved it onto a then and then put it back on.
No, the reason why I
I
was...
think we,
Sorry.
I'm not positive, but we may have to even have 2 partitions on that drive for that reason, that we could wipe the operating system, hard reset where most of the, I missed that one. Okay, good. I did not see a car because it's a dark car and it was in the shade.
It is a deep navy blue, and in my opinion, the sun was in my eyes, so I couldn't see it, but...
Yeah, the sun was coming from that way, and it was in the shade, and so it's the color of the blacktop in the shade.
Yeah, it's a little different, because it's a navy blue, like a deep navy.
But it's so close that, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, one thing we do in our family, and this may be a suggestion if Angel Goddess ever watches this. I don't know how much help she has set up her computers or stuff, but when she gets her new computer, I would recommend either one, having 2 different hard drives, or having one hard drive with at least 2 partitions, and in one drive, so it makes kind of one drive into two drives, and in one drive you keep your operating system and stuff like that, because that's where viruses are going to link to, so they'll all go on that drive. So if you have it to where you can save stuff to other drives, then you can save your files and everything, usually undamaged, and still wipe your C drive and usually get rid of most, if not all, viruses. And that can be helpful to do on top of your usual. Now, I'm not saying you can get away with doing that and you'll have and you can go be dangerous in what you download to your computer and everything else, because there are still viruses that will attach everywhere on the drive, on the computer, into every single drive and everything. But it does help for most viruses. It's like another backup protection. It doesn't work all the time, as I said, but so few people do that, especially nowadays. Everyone wants laptops, things like that. People who create viruses they usually do not have those viruses attack other drives and save to other drives other than C. And so as long as you have things saved, you have it, that things you save will go to other drives, and to where so all your programs open in all your programs, things like that, are in C, but so your executable files are in C, but you might save certain game data in like D or E, and you might save your your photos and different things like that into D or E, things like that. You will lose less data if you do get a virus by doing that. And my brother's done some research, and from what he says, if you hard reset your computer anywhere from 6 months to a few years, hides from those. And it can't be done quite as well as a fresh reset. However, that can take time too, so there's that. Now, I am going to go over for the next events tasks, because no one's on. I hope if you watch this watch the replay,